Motor vehicle-related bicycle accidents are the most common form of injury-producing bicycle accident in New York City. When an accident arises from contact with a motor vehicle and the bicyclist sustains injury, the bicyclist is covered for necessary medical expenses and a portion of lost earnings through the insurance coverage for the motor vehicle involved, regardless of fault. This is commonly known as the no-fault law. This portion of coverage is separate and apart from the liability portion of the claim, which seeks to obtain compensation for pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment, and other non-covered economic losses, which is discussed in detail in our video, Valuing a Personal Injury Claim. A claim for no-fault benefits must be timely filed with the insurance company for the vehicle involved within 30 days of the accident. Medical bills from treatment for injuries sustained must be submitted for payment to the carrier within 45 days of given treatment. Obtaining proper insurance information from the motor vehicle involved is extremely important in timely filing the no-fault claim. If the motor vehicle involved is uninsured or fled the scene and remains unidentified, please see our separate video on the topic of a hit-and-run uninsured accidents. The minimum coverage for personal injury protection under New York state law is $50,000 per occurrence. The liability claim is conditioned upon proving fault, which can either be a violation of a statutory requirement that was a cause of the accident, or a negligence, which is a requirement of a motorist to use the degree of care that a reasonably prudent person would under a similar circumstance. New York State recognizes pure comparative fault, where the plaintiff as well as the defendants can be found at fault to a matter of degree, all of which must add up to 100%. Whatever percentage of fault that is allocated to the bicyclist plaintiff would serve to reduce the damages award by the same percentage. In addition to having to prove fault on the part of the defendant, the plaintiff in a bicyclist motor vehicle accident in New York State must prove a serious injury as defined by the no-fault law. In short, what the no-fault law provides in the way of basic coverage for medical expenses and lost earnings, it takes away in the right to maintain a case in the court system for bodily injury unless the plaintiff can prove a serious injury as defined by the no-fault law. If any one injury meets one or more of the serious injury categories, then all the injuries are compensable, whether they are serious or not. This is commonly known as the threshold requirement. The recognized categories of the serious injury requirement is as follows. 1. Any type of fractured bone, whether displaced or not. 2. A permanent impairment of the use of a bodily organ, member, function, or system. 3. A significant limitation of the use of a bodily organ, member, function, or system. 4. A significant disfigurement, translated into a scar that is deemed unattractive by one of reasonable sensitivity. Another category, 5. At least 90 of the first 180 days following the accident, unable to carry out in your usual occupation, subject to what a reasonable person would do under a similar circumstance. Some other obvious categories are death, dismemberment, pregnant, loss of a fetus. Once again, the law requires that only one injury must meet any one of the mentioned categories. If so, all the injuries are subject to compensation. Some categories of injury, such as the permanent impairment category and significant limitation category, can be subject to a factual question to be determined by a jury. But it is also subject to a significant line of case law interpretation, which unfortunately is well beyond the scope of this video. In the determination of fault, there are two general categories of law. The first is known as common law negligence, in which both the bicyclist and the operator of the motor vehicle must exercise the degree of care that an ordinarily prudent person would under a similar circumstance. A deviation from ordinary care that is a cause of the accident can provide the basis for liability. The second category of law is that of a violation of a statute, which is a legislative mandate governing the course of conduct. A statutory violation is even stronger foundation for a finding of liability as long as it is considered a cause of the accident. There is an instruction given by the trial judge to the jury that if a violation of a statute is found that is a cause of the accident, then the jury must find negligence. There are numerous potentially applicable statutory violations for a given pattern of facts. For a list of statutes, please take a look at our page of relevant statutes. Each set of facts can be different, and accordingly it is the judge that makes the final determination of the applicable statutes that may be given to the jury for consideration. Once there has been a finding of negligence and the serious injury requirement has been met, then the jury is directed to determine damages. The determination of damages in a personal injury action is a difficult task. Due to the extensive nature of this topic, we do have a separate video in our vault speaking to how much a case is worth. Needless to say, our firm makes every effort to secure the best recovery we can for our clients. If you or someone you know has been injured in a bicycle accident as a result of the negligence of another, please contact us for a free consultation with no obligation.